Uh, we've, of course, there was what 87,000 IRS agents just hired. Um, I could be wrong about that. There could have been updates that I missed. But oh yeah, they're totally going after the millionaires and the billionaires. Um, no, I hate to say this to you, but the IRS introduces new service industry tip reporting program. So those within the service industry that are waiters, waitresses, or your main income from your job is because of tips. Yeah, the IRS is preparing to bend you over, not give you any lube or a reach around. So, and this is straight from the IRS website themselves. I will put that in the chat just so that you can go back and look for yourself. So, if you are a service industry employee or work in the service industry, yeah. They say the proposed Sitka program is designed to take advantage of advancements in point of sale, time, and attendance systems, and electronic payment settlement methods to improve tip reporting compliance.
Right.
Tip reporting compliance. So every time you get a $5 to $7 tip, or if you're an excellent server and get tipped half of what the bill is, I don't know what the protocols of anyone else does, but if I get great fucking service, I tip very generously. I don't want to see these people having to fucking pay taxes on cash, and just on something I gotta give. But the proposed program would also decrease taxpayer and IRS administrative burdens, because we all know the government doesn't like to fucking work, and if we create more work for the government, they tend to bitch and complain and make things harder for the rest of us.
Okay, show of virtual hands. Who cares if we're making more burden for the inventory or the Infernal Revenue Service? I hear crickets. Okay.
Yep. Moving on. Yeah. And provide more transparency and certainty to taxpayers. The proposed program includes the several features: the monitoring of employer compliance. I'm highlighting that word because compliance is bullshit. And if you have to comply to the government, you are a slave. So anytime I will see compliance, I'm just going to replace that with slave, because that's exactly what you are to your government.
Wah, slave.
Based upon actual annual tip revenue and charge tip data from an employer's point of sale system, an allowance of adjustments in tipping practices from year to year. And there are places already, including the brewery that I very much frequently, because I love that place, and they have great food and great beers. If you pay in cash, everything is either rounded up or rounded down to the nearest dollar. If you pay in card, they always have to charge the extra. What is, I think it's 3.5%.
Yeah, the convenience fee.
For the convenience fee. So I always tip my servers, because I always get good service. I've had one bad instance at that place, and that was the only time they did not get a tip from me.
See,
But
it's it's honestly a really good thing we don't have a European style system with some of the way we do things. Uh,
Yep.
in Germany, and I think in France too, if the gentleman from France is still on, he might be able to answer this. At least when I was there, it was one of these things. If you stayed at a hotel and you had housekeeping come in, it was considered impolite at best not to leave a moderate tip for the housekeeping staff.
See, now that's different compared to a waiter or waitress because they actually frown upon you leaving them a tip because they're actually paid a decent wage, because I can't remember how the math goes into it, but they're actually compensating with the wages that they are actually paid from their employee. It actually goes into their paycheck of what tips normally would be. So if you leave a tip like a normal American would, they actually look at you like you're stupid.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just passing along something I remember from my time when I was stationed in Germany, and
Right.
I don't think it's changed because it's, from what I understand, that's been prevalent in Europe since royalty.
Yep.
So,
But I'm not gonna read through this whole fucking thing because it's absolutely fucking stupid that these new 87,000 IRS employees that were hired that were supposed to go after the millionaires and the billionaires. I mean, this has always been a thing, and a lot of people don't really report it because I wouldn't blame them if they didn't. Because hey, here's some extra cash because you helped me out and whatnot. It's fucking stupid.
it's like back when newspapers were, and I know in some places they still are, were delivered by 10-year-olds. If they were doing a good job of it, they might get like an extra quarter or a dollar bill
Yep.
left specifically for them.
Yep. Here's Sonny Jim. Here's an extra nickel. Thank you for my newspaper. And then he goes to read his fucking newspaper and he'd read off about, the Boston fucking Red Sox, they got the ass kicked by the Yankees. And then he'd fucking throw the newspaper down and this and that and all this fucking. Stupid times, man. Stupid times.
Well, I'm gonna say part of it is the fact that we are living in a massive nanny state now.
Yeah.
Everything that used to be fun pre-internet is slowly being destroyed or muddied down to the point where it's no longer enjoyable, and in some cases it's not even necessarily worth doing anymore.
Keep going on your rant, Mando, because I got to take a piss again.
Well, most people who do shooting in the country or shooting in the backyard know this. It's getting to the point where you can't even necessarily, if you can afford the bullets, you can't even necessarily afford to get a backyard rifle range or pistol range set up, even if you live somewhere that's the middle of bloody nowhere, because they're either regulating you to death or they're charging you out the butt just to be able to set up what you need to be able to operate it safely. I mean, it's stupid what's going on, and I'm sure most of us remember going out and I'm sure several of us remember going out riding our bicycles without a helmet, without knee pads, without elbow pads. You try doing that today and everyone's gonna flip the heck out. There is truth behind the meme. I'm from the generation that did XYZ, and I still lived. I don't know. We have forgotten how to be people first as a civilization. Sadly, that's pretty much all the point that I had for that one. Oh, perfect time.
I'm going to back up your argument there. When I was a kid, I lived in a town. I'm not going to mention it just so I don't accidentally dox myself. But then again, I'll be probably doxing myself anyways in the near future. Anyways, where I lived, there was like 3 minutes away in an open field. There was some dirt hills where a lot of the kids would go and ride their bikes and jump the bikes, and it was like almost like a little mini motocross track. I would jump on my bike, or I would tell my mom, "Hey mom, I'm gonna go ride my bike." "Okay, no problem. I'll see you later." I would be gone for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, just sitting there, just riding my bike and crashing my bike and hurting myself. And I'd be like, "Oh yeah," knocking the wind out of myself, scraping my knees. And I would come home and I'd be in pain. My mom would look at me and she'd be like, "Well, what happened to you?" I was like, "Yeah, I wrecked a few times." And I'd give my dad the same exact fucking answer. He said, "What the fuck did you do?" Like, if I could wreck my bike, I'm gonna, go take a shower, clean up, and get it covered up. It's like, all right, good, do that.
And generally speaking, the questions would generally be, do you need to go to the hospital? Did you break something?
Yeah.
Is the bike broken?
Yeah. I mean,
in my family, it was more or less that order.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly where I was at, because I was born in 1990, but I was on the tail end of
having freedom,
having the freedom of saying, "Hey, mom, dad, I'm gonna go out, hang out with my friends," and then I would ride my bike or my scooter or my skateboard down the hills, all throughout the town, hang out with my buddies, and they would say, "Get your ass back home before the streetlights come on." And there was only a handful of times where I didn't make it back home before the lights came on, and my dad, let's just say he was stern on me.
Did he get creative with his disciplinary actions?
Not really. He just said, "You weren't back home? All right, fine. This thing's going away. You're no longer, you're grounded," and all this and that. And I didn't dare talk back to my dad because I did only about like 2 or 3 times, and I learned not to do that. Let's just say that.
To those of us in the generation that still had some freedom, let's raise a glass of whatever it is you drink.
Yep.
To days that'll never come back.
Yep. Went to go take a piss and I already drank my 6-pack that I had. I need to go get some more beers.
I took a sip of my cold coffee.